It'll go away before this conversation's over, I promise you. So, don't worry about it yet. This is the like my pregame show. You can do whatever you want.
Okay.
Yeah, say whatever you want. I'm just gonna get the podcast ready. Oh. 1 second. So Jamie was on this thing last time.
I saw.
She wasn't happy with the start because she didn't realize that I was recording. So this time I'm like, I'm gonna tell people that I'm recording. So this is the Modern American Dream podcast that you're on.
Okay.
This is season 7. The only reason it's season 7 is because I lose track of the thing. Every time I forget like the number because I don't write it down, I just go like it's season 7 now.
Maybe
4, maybe 5.
So this is like season 7 episode. I think this must be 8.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure this is 8, so it's not going to be season 8 just yet.
All right. Sounds good.
The podcast is called The Modern American Dream. If you Google Modern American
I'll do that.
American Dream, what do you get? Let's see here.
Let's see what I get on Google.
What is today's American dream? The American dream is the belief that anyone, regardless of where they were born or what class they were born into, can attain their own version of success in a society in which upward mobility is possible for everyone. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about different things like life, kids, work, real estate. And now I'll give you my formal introduction.
All right. Good.
I know Art and Chelle Durkin, obviously from real estate, right? We all work here at Keller Williams. I've watched Art first. That's who I met first through just real estate and watching you grow. I feel like you excelled in the business of real estate, which means you've excelled as a person. I know that you do staging, or you started off doing staging. I've met you as Art's wife at the company gatherings. I thought you were super incredible, nice person. We had some great conversations. And through that time, I thought that I admire you both. You're awesome people. Seems like you have a good relationship. I met Connor, right? I didn't meet your daughter. But like Connor and Art took me and my son shooting. That was the first time he ever shot his gun. And that means a lot to me. So I wanted to have you guys on the show just to talk about like real estate, life, goals, maybe cars. I don't know. So like, let's bring it back a little and just like give me a little bit of background on like both of you, kind of, you know what I mean? Maybe before you met, after you met, just like a quick rundown.
Sure. So before we met, actually this is my second career. So I started out, I went to school locally down in Everett, went up to college, graduated college as an RN, registered nurse. I went in the Air Force, spent about a year and a half before I met Chelle. We met down in Tampa, Florida during my first duty assignment down there. She was in nursing school at the time, and then I went away to the first Gulf War and figured I couldn't live without her, so I asked her to marry me. So when I came back after about a year, we got married and started our family that way, and then moved around the Air Force for 20-something years. Retired, had 2 kids in the meantime along that journey, and then following our retirement, we moved here to this local area, to North Andover.
Yep.
I've been there for about 12 years now, and after we retired, I ran a trauma center for about a year and a half. Wonderful work, but I worked very, very hard, and found that really wasn't the long-term goal that we had. Always get into real estate.
Yep.
And then retired after, left that position, and then got my real estate license, and then made the decision to get into real estate full time.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of moving. And then,
So I grew up in Florida,
Yeah.
not up here from New England, and went to nursing school, thought that was going to be my long-term path, and met Art, thought I would grow up, go back to my hometown, but didn't. So we started moving around. We moved 14 times in the 21 years.
14
times.
times? No.
Because of assignments, and so that's one of the places where my love of like design and creating a home out of what you have came from, because we were shifting houses. We bought several, some turned for a profit, some didn't, based on where the market was at any given time. But being able to take what I had and make it home was kind of what lit that fire to design and stage. And so when we moved up here, the kids were still fairly young, so I spent most of my nursing career just kind of matching my career choice with where we were locally and what was available in the market. So I did a lot of things and exposed me to different aspects of nursing. I never thought that those soft skills would transfer over into real estate like they do, but caring for people at any level, I think transfers, and being able to listen to people, understand, even in real estate, understand that there's something behind the why. It has been a huge asset that I didn't really know existed.
That's pretty cool. I didn't realize, my girlfriend's actually a nurse, I didn't realize how much, hearing you both talk, nursing was such a big part of like just your life experience, kind of, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So where are you in Florida? Tampa?
I grew up between Tampa and Orlando.
Okay.
It was a little town called Lakeland, and now it's pretty big. They've got their own.
Lakeland?
Yes.
We just sent somebody down there. My friends Mike and Alicia. Wow. Yeah. I don't even know what's happening there because I've never been there, but like, man.
Yeah,
really.
it's exploding. Yeah. They've got an Amazon fulfillment center. The town is like
new construction, super cool town is what I'm hearing, right?
Yeah.
Used to be a bunch of orange groves and small lakes, but now it's residential.
And along the way, somebody told me to buy orange groves, just
we
like
didn't.
Gary Teller just said, buy dirt.
Buy dirt.
Yeah. And
we should have bought dirt.
We should have.
Yeah, and it was worth dirt.
It was worth dirt then.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, crazy, right?
But
hey, what do you know? Like actually, you used to work in a building down the road, right?
Mm-hmm. Right behind here.
Those buildings and this building sold for like $150 million recently.
wow.
Did you see that? No?
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They like all these sold for $150 million, and then the Toshiba or whatever across the street sold for like $90 million, right? So you think nursing helps you with this career because you have to care about people?
Yeah, and being able to listen, and I think nursing gave me the skills to kind of read people in a different way, just
and understand and dig deeper.
Like understand what they're feeling, like
right. Yeah. And from an empathetic part, like I'm very much an empath, so I feel what people are feeling.
Yeah.
But I think that really, like, that digging deeper to understand where things are coming from, the investigation part of nursing, like, being a part of a diagnostic team or something like that, helped me, like, what's the why?
Like asking questions when people don't
and,
want to give you information, like there's standoffish.
A deeper question, why is that? Why is that important to you?
Yeah.
And the listening.
And listening. The ability to listen and hear.
That's cool. Tell me this. So why New England?
When we were in the military moving around, we had a lot of opportunity to live in the South.
Yep.
Which is where my family's from.
Yep.
And my parents are about 10 years younger than ours. So and they would come see us wherever we went. So we got to spend a lot of my kids' time growing up with parents. And so when we got ready to retire, we thought that being up here would allow us some time to get to know Art's parents more and his siblings, and kind of develop those relationships.
That's pretty special. I feel like that's worth it, right? Mm-hmm. Looking back, is it?
Oh, absolutely.
Certainly.
Because within about 4 years of moving up here, Art's dad got sick and passed away. So had we not lived here, we wouldn't have had, my kids wouldn't have had that time with their
grandfather. How old
grandfather.
were they at that time?
They were 8. Connor was 8, and then, and Caitlin was 12.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And you guys ever think you're gonna like snowbird to Florida, maybe?
Oh yeah.
Lakeland? Maybe. Wherever.
Yeah.
It'll be down in that area. We like the Gulf side.
Yeah.
I mean, we could go to the East Coast as well, because Lakeland is about halfway between Tampa and Orlando, so it's still close enough to the west, to the East Coast. But we tend to like the West Coast.
Like St. Pete, Clearwater.
I'd love to snowbird to Florida one day. Yeah. That would be cool. I go there all the time, look at different places, like where I'd want to go. And what I feel would be awesome is to get a house on both the Gulf and the other side. Yeah. Right? That'd be kind of
cool. That'd be cool.
Airbnb one when I'm not there. Yeah, I'll give it to my friends, whatever. So let's talk about real estate a little bit, right? So you get into the business, which is you go have a full-on business somewhere else, right? A full career, retire. Did you retire too at that time?
No. I didn't leave nursing until last year.
Until last year?
Until last year. Wow. I was working in a nursing job until last year, in January.
Wow. That's really cool. All right. So, Art, how long were you in real estate then?
So before Chelle joined the team, 6 years. This will be my 7th year in real estate.
7th year?
Right, starting.
Wow, that's insane. So, and you were with KW for all?
Yes. Yeah.
The 7 years?
Mm-hmm.
So tell me like how your year one was. And you're not in year one?
No, not at all.
No.
Not even like, are you like, do this, don't do this, I don't care, whatever?
No. My thought was, what the?
Like, don't do this.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Oh, wow. What were you thinking?
We had a daughter going to college, and he was making a major career shift, and I was a little terrified.
Mm-hmm.
What were you thinking?
Well, I was the same, in many respects, the same way. I left a really great salary, mid-6-figure salary.
Like you had more time, you could have ran that up, right?
Oh, certainly. And I could see, a trajectory as a middle manager and trauma director. So I was an upward trajectory. I could certainly see myself, going through the organization like that. But it didn't light my fire. What lit my fire?
Didn't light your fire?
Real estate did. And
how did you know real estate did?
Just from from moving around, that 14 times that we moved, many of those we would,
like personal real estate experience.
Personal real estate experience. We would purchase. A lot of times we'd purchase a home that needed a little bit fixing up, some more than others, and fix them up, and then sell them after about 2 to 3 years as we moved on to our next assignment. And I love doing that, and I love the process of finding real estate, investigating, doing the due diligence, all these other pieces. I love doing that. And at one point we said, that's where I want to go next. I needed some more flexibility in my schedule. It was a very, running an ED is pretty time intensive. I was, leaving the house at 5:30 in the morning and not getting home till 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night. And I had very little time for the kids. And my kids had mentioned to me before I retired, Dad, I really want to retire and be able to go to the same school and be able to stay in the same place through high school.
Yeah.
So I felt like it was important for me to be home with them more often, and I wasn't. I was, not even seeing them before they got up and kissing them to bed.
Which is so important. Right?
So I felt like I needed something different so that it would allow me the flexibility to have a little bit more time at home. And at that point, my mom was needing to get some more care, so she actually moved in with us, and that provided us a lot of flexibility. Going into real estate as opposed to being at work at 5:30 and not coming home till 8 o'clock at night, gave me some flexibility to take her to doctor's appointments and do things that I needed to do. So it was a wonderful, flexible schedule that allowed me to do what I needed to do personally.
How was the first year?
It wasn't great.
No, I mean, you can hear from all the things that, it wasn't a lot of production time.
Like monetarily.
Right.
Monetarily, no.
And what about like emotionally and just like straining, because lack of monetary sometimes causes a little bit of anxiety.
It was a little stressful, and we were able to, we had some built-in buffer.
Yeah,
financially.
You planned for it.
We did our 3 to 6 month buffer, making sure we had enough income to believe me, this planner would not allow me to jettison.
That was you.
Oh, absolutely. Not allow me to jettison, a great earning job to go and do something that I knew that was going to take some time
like
to
a
accumulate.
Little, volatility. Right? So what were you thinking? Like stack a little money?
Yeah, like Art gets a retirement from the military, which between that and my salary, kind of, we had to bring in a little bit of our lifestyle, losing his income. So it was, like some give and take. We built up some reserve, and then we didn't do as much those first couple of years while he was, really trying to build the base of his business.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. Now you superseded whatever income you could have made in the other position, right? Enough that you joined the business full time and left your other job.
Now it covers both of our salaries.
Which is 7 years.
Right.
Right?
We probably got there at 5.
In 5.
Yeah.
So tell me, or whoever that might want to listen, if from year 1 to year 5, run through that.
So take that.
Yeah.
So the first, from year 1 to 5 was an entitled, building my database and building my sphere of influence and letting people know that this is the new position that I'm in, and helping them find those houses, list those their homes, and understand that I'm in the business and I'm there to help them. It would allow me a lot of, like I was saying earlier, a lot of flexibility.
Not today. Sorry, this is my office. Everybody
No
knows.
worries. So,
get out of here.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's all right. You want to jump on camera again?
No, thank you.
Yeah, come on in.
This is Jasper,
our insurance guy.
Second time he's
you
officially interrupted the podcast.
Podcast. Yeah, that's right.
Show your face.
I can't right now. My hair's a mess.
Oh, stop it.
Look at how good ours is. Doesn't have a hair follows a lot of places. I just wanted to say your grill looks good.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. So I actually love that, because to me that's
That's real life.
Yeah, it's real life.
What happens in the day of real
Yeah,
estate, right?
you gotta roll with it. All right, so tell me, as you tell me about maybe monetarily, or if other agents are listening. I know there's so many people. There's more people in real estate now than ever before. It's a very enticing business because of you can make so much money, right? You have freedom, which you do have freedom. You can make money. However, at the end of the day, it ain't free.
No.
And it doesn't fall on your lap some weird way, no matter who you are. I feel like
that is so true, and it can be a grind. You got to go out there and earn the business, earn your respect, earn your clientele's business.
So what were some of the biggest lessons you learned, and then what do you think allowed for you to feel comfortable getting in, being all right, maybe I'll leave my nursing job and jump into.
Probably for me, it was coming from contribution, being able to give. What am I providing my clients and my friends, my family, my sphere?
Yeah.
What am I providing for them? I got to be able to provide them some value. I'm not just a friend who can sell their house. I can provide them much more than that. contractors who could help them with their homes. Advice on what to do with some of their investments, and maybe some referrals to some key people that might help them in helping them with their largest asset that they own. Right?
Yeah.
Things that I think that helped me be able to feel like I could contribute to that sphere.
Yeah.
And I think as art, grew year after year after year and had more and more transactions and more clients, I saw the cumulative effect of that, and seeing the year after year consistency and how doing the work builds on itself, because it doesn't fall in your lap. You're out there trying to be the utmost professional for your friends, family, sphere, and creating a business and being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And so, but seeing that consistency helped me be willing to be like, okay, I can see that there's growth every year. See where if I'm in the business, I can leverage some things that I'm really good at, and bring those to the table, and also help take things off of Art's plate so that he can do the things that he's really good at.
And you saw like a bigger picture, kind of.
Yes. And I think that's been my biggest growth potential or growth journey, has been going from working for someone else and leveraging all that time and energy and effort for someone else, and realizing that I can leverage all of that with some passion we want to build.
It's an awesome way to build a career, right? When it works. But nursing is like no joke either, right? Because you're getting good money.
Yes, and so it was it was a challenge for me to let go of that consistent.
Like, I'm getting paid, I show up.
Yeah. But I was also trying to weave in staging Art's listings, publishing his newsletter, running events for clients in my spare time, and pushing up to 60+ hours a week. I was like, I can't,
do
something's got to give.
Yeah. Because you do put a lot of hours in nursing, without a doubt. Is what I would know. It's probably like you can't really compare this to that, like in the hardness of hours,
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a different mental energy as well.
Yeah.
Because I did case management for a number of years, so I was intimately kind of inserted into individuals' lives who were struggling with some kind of mental or physical or substance abuse situation.
Yeah.
And to carry all that on top of our own lives has an impact.
You take your work
You
home.
take it with you
all
all
the
the time. There's no way to shut it off.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And so when I was planning, getting ready to make this leap, I was amazed at how much mental capacity I gained from letting go of everybody else's stuff.
Just like freeing.
Yes, because I wasn't.
Was that something like you had to talk to yourself? Okay, listen, look in the mirror, like I allow you to let go or whatever, or did it just like happen naturally?
It just kind of happened naturally
with
as
little
I was.
effort, kind of, because it was just like the progression of how it went.
Right. The less when I didn't have to give all that mental energy or try and shut that off anymore.
Yeah.
It just allowed me to start to think bigger.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So do you guys ever think like, so from that to this is amazing, and you do have to realize that like very few people actually achieve that level of growth or that level of consistent growth in this business. A lot of times it's like, and sometimes it's like, you know what I mean? Right. And you just scrape bottom. So I think like that's awesome. Do you think 7 years from now, I want to be done. I want to have a bigger business. I want, like.
That's a great question. I think
now that you know,
yeah.
like, things are possible, you know.
Well, I think we've seen progressive growth every year. You mentioned back, what did 1 through 5 look like? Well, the first year I didn't do much business at all. I did probably a handful of transactions. But 2nd through 4th, I capped in my 2nd year, and I've capped every year since. So the audience understand what that means. That means at least $3.5 million worth of volume, $4 million worth of volume in this market. And we've had 33% growth and 40% growth in the last 2 years alone, and that gave her a little bit of feeling of, okay, we've had that much growth in the last 2 years. I can jettison the job and feel comfortable replacing that salary. So where do we see ourselves in 5, 7 years? We're starting to build a team, and with your and other team members, we're building our team. Taking on she's gotten licensed as a buyer. You're essentially my buyer's agent and operations manager. And we're taking on new staff this coming week, which we're pretty excited about.
No way! Yeah. Wow! Congratulations.
And then
is that
help add some leverage to our admin?
Wow! What a move! That's awesome.
Yeah. So we're excited because I'm thinking about
like a salaried employee.
Yes.
Wow!
So
that
20
makes me
hours.
so happy.
And so what is that? Like taking 20 hours off my plate.
What's that going to do?
What's that going to allow for me to kind of think bigger, grow into, and move forward? And I think that too has been one of my bigger blocks is like the business mind.
Is it scary for you to like hire somebody right now? Or
yes.
I remember.
It's not an easy leap, right?
I remember for us too. We went through a bunch of administrative, and we tried the same like. It was so scary. I was like, I don't even know how people have people work for them. That is crazy, like to pay somebody a certain amount of money a year, And what's even crazier, we had Mindy, and we haven't had to go back on being like, thank God, like I can't pay you, right? Because that's the scary part. You basically taking on somebody and going like, hey, jump on my back, I got this, right? Like that's kind of what we're doing. You're
responsible for somebody else's life and their livelihood. So that's a huge responsibility, right?
Pretty scary, but I think it's an awesome, like it's one of those game changers,
Right. Because I heard someone say, like the only reason you should really build a team is not just for your own individual growth, but to help others achieve. And I was like, oh, okay, wow, that's
I mean, that was a mind blower for us. I mean, we were like, okay, and when hiring, one of the things that we, this may work out, it may not, but what I want the new employees to understand is that we're there for their growth. We're not there to build my team. We want to be sure that we're making a right choice and making sure that we take care of them and what their life goals are
and being in business together not necessarily
you're working for me.
I always say like we're in a boat and we're rowing this boat together. Like you take your oar, I'll take mine, and everybody do their part, and the thing will move pretty nicely. You know what I mean? So I think like it's awesome, and you get to choose the people you get to work with. So that'll be cool. It'll be awesome to see how you guys grow. So let's switch gears. Let's talk about like kids and family and modern times, right? You guys must see some like younger families, and do you ever think like, man, it would be crazy to raise our kids at this time, or man, there's so many different situations that like your kids might deal with and like people of their generation might deal with. Like, do you ever think like that?
I think that's a great question. I do now that you pointed it out. I look at these young families, these first-time home buyers that we're taking through and starting their lives and careers with. And it is a little bit different from what we experienced. We're kind of an anomaly anyway, because we moved around every 2 years.
So much experience in moving.
So
isn't it crazy? Do you find like so many people stay in one area?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? And it's something that after 2 years we were itching and ready to go to move. Like
So we just
Where we go?
remodeled. But yes, I think it's very different. Some of the generational differences are very interesting, and how people receive data, how much information is out there, the way people communicate is so different. And like our kids are of an age, they're in their early 20s, so they're definitely technology driven. Most of their communication is, taking in information via YouTube or, Snapchat or TikTok or whatever. The social media is
right now. Somebody's going to be taking this in,
So that's how they receive a lot of their information, which is very different. Like most of us watch news channels or, we're, gathering information from different places as well. But it's just very interesting to understand how they get their information and what they're seeing and how they're processing it.
Stuff. So, like, when it comes to raising kids, like, you obviously cannot censor children from the information that's out there, right? So, like, how do you think, like, you raised your kids, I feel like they seem like really nice kids, right? Which says a lot about the parents. I tell my son, like, Julian, how you are in the world is a reflection of me as a dad and your mom as a mom, right? Like, because it is, like, you should be proud of that because, like, you're putting so much work into it, Like, what advice, what is, like, your top 3 advices or, like, like some of your highest advice that you think you give your kids?
For me, I think the top 3 would be clear communication. And being open to that lines of communication and communicate, and it's an evolving process. I found with Connor, for example, there are ways in which to communicate with him that are starkly different than my daughter. They're just totally 2 different personality types, and it's just meeting them where they're at. For me, is trying to, for Connor, it's a quick text in the morning. Hey, love you, buddy. Hope your day goes great. And it might not be every day because day would be too much for him. But that's the way I'm able to interact with him. For my daughter, it's pick up the phone and call and meeting her where she's at. Just checking in every once in a while. But it's understanding where they are. So that, for me, that's 1. 2 is, as hard as it is for me, I have to listen. Listen and shut up.
Yeah, like no.
I love to talk. I give advice, and I've a lot in my life. I want to be able to share what my ideas are.
Man,
shut up. That's probably my second. Third is try to be humble. Who I am, and just listen and be a listening dad, and instead of projecting what my opinions are or what my thoughts are. But that's taken years of development. I mean, these kids, 20 years old, when I started, raising them, it wasn't the first thing I was thinking of was listen. I'm like, you gotta listen to me. I'm your dad. Now it's an evolving process. If they're in their early 20s, it's all about listening for me.
Yeah, I agree. And just support. Yeah. Allowing them to kind of grow and explore who they are. And as much as I think having adult children kind of changed my perspective, because I thought very similar to you as far as like they're a reflection on me. They become their own person. And you've got to and they have to grow into their own person.
And you have to allow them the space.
Right? You've got to allow them the space to do that. Sometimes it's extremely painful to watch and move through, but on the other side of that, they seem to find their way.
Which is how it goes, right? You just have to allow for them to like trip up and not pick them up.
And
and that's so difficult not to do.
And be their safe space, I would say.
The ability to listen I give them permission to fail forward all the
Yeah.
time.
It is hard to do, you know,
How
as
to
a
watch.
parent. You're like,
I
dude,
don't want you to.
I can help you skip a couple
Right,
steps.
exactly, exactly.
But they gotta work through it.
But they gotta work through it.
They gotta work through it for sure. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think that you know, kids are funny. They make you look at life in different perspectives, and as different stages of their life, there's times where you have to be like clamped on, which is earlier on, right? Because that's where their foundation is. And then there's times like I see it with my son now. He's like middle schoolish, so I try to like release, you know what I mean, and just like you kind of have to let them figure life out, because you're right, they are their own. At some point, they become completely their own person, you know, which is super, super cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, what else? What do you guys like to do for fun?
We're foodies. We
Foodies?
love to travel.
Yep.
We spent 6 years in Germany, stationed in Germany,
Yep.
and have traveled extensively in Europe. And so just experiencing so many different people and cultures and food, and that wanderlust is just still rampant. So not having been able to travel much in the last 2 years has been challenging.
Yeah.
Just staying home or, you know, doing things local. But we definitely look forward to getting back to Europe and maybe even seeing parts of the U.S. We haven't seen as much of the U.S. as we've seen in Europe.
Yeah.
But I think travel and food.
Yeah, those are definitely things that we enjoy. We love music. Actually, tonight you're taking me out to go listen to a band. So
No way.
you know, band and music and those types of things. Those are a big part of our life. And
Family. We enjoy some time with family.
You guys love to entertain.
Yeah.
You know, I never made it to your little house party thing. But
we do like to entertain. We like to have people. I thrive on hospitality, so you know, just awesome. Really pouring into other people and just making them feel comfortable. And
where would you travel to, like the next couple places? Like, do you have anything in mind that?
Believe it or not, as much as we enjoy wine, we've never been to Napa Valley, so I'd love to do Napa Valley. And then I'd also love to go back to Italy, Greece. Ireland. I've only been there once. Art's family's from Ireland, so he spent a lot of time there in his youth, and I would just like to get back there.
Yeah, I just had some friends go there and post some pictures. Looks nice, right? Mm-hmm. Good times. That's cool. So you go to Ireland. So you both like wine?
I love wine.
Yeah.
Love wine.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I can't believe you've never been to Napa Valley.
Well, we spent, you know, we spent a lot of time in Europe, so we would literally within hours we could be in Italy, you know, or we were 20 minutes from the French border where we lived.
That must have been a really cool experience, right?
Yeah.
Our wine love was there.
No. When we would write our Christmas letters, it would be like a travel blog more than anything else. And that was before blogs were like super huge or popular, but I'd send it home and I'd be like, we did, you know.
What did we do? Holy moly.
Because everything was so close. So it would be like driving from here to, I don't know.
New York.
You'd be down
in Italy, literally. So.
You'd be down in Italy, or, you know, and the first time we were there, we were both active duty, Air Force, and when we would have, like, we wouldn't get time off together very often. So when we would, and we weren't making a ton of money.
The Air Force doesn't pay, military doesn't pay.
So we would, you know, we would ferry over in the middle of the night to get to England, you know, and because it was the cheapest one, and we drive, and, you know, like, it was crazy things like that. And,
but they were just adventures.
But it was
fun.
Yeah. Another time we went to Turkey, and because we could fly on a space available basis, we, you know, didn't have any expense to get there. But, you know.
Do you think that's important to like have fun doing stuff together? Like, is that a big part of your like relationship? You know?
Oh, yeah. I think though, as we've gotten older and the kids have grown, and we work together now, and how much COVID forced us all to be together in the last 2 years, it's important for us to have our own passions too.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you work together or live together, if you do everything like, together, then I'm like, yeah.
That's why I golf and she doesn't.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, it's really cool. And true. And I don't think you get to that unless you spend a little time thinking about what helps you connect and makes you a more whole person in and of yourself.
Yeah, like you got to do stuff that fulfills you, and then, you know, because you are an individual, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So as we begin to wrap up, have you ever seen the Moleskines, my Moleskines?
Yeah.
So I have the old and I have the new one. And I basically write stuff that if something ever happened to me, I would love for my kids to find this stuff and read it. You know, I think it's like some good quotes and some good life lessons. So you can go first. You can pick one or the other, and I'll tell you a page, and then I'll read you whatever's written in there.
I'll say the new one.
The new one? All right. So you have from page 1 to 23.
I'll say 22.
22?
Yeah, 22.
Why?
Both of our kids are born on the 22nd of their respective month. And it has become, and it's just one of those numbers for our family.
Oh, wow. All right. So I have 2 quotes here. I usually read one, or I'll read them all, or I'll read whatever feels like I should read. And usually it's like, you know, so far it's been pretty crazy. So one of us doesn't need all of us, but all of us needs one of us.
Okay.
That's one that's on there. And the other one is the first generation makes it, the second generation spends it, and the third generation blows it. Art, which one do you want to do?
I'll do the old one.
The old one?
Yeah.
I knew you would. All right. The old one you have from 1 to 33.
All right, I'm going 10.
10? Why 10?
10's the number I wore in sports when I was playing.
All right.
Sports, except for 22.
2. There's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this list, but I'm only reading you 2. Okay. 1 is this: random acts of kindness. That's it. That's all it says. The other one is this: the few who do are the envy of the many who don't. Do you know who said it?
Maxwell?
I don't know. But in here, it's credited to Jim Rohn. So.
Oh, well, I was close.
Right.
Jim Rohn, Maxwell.
Well, I really appreciate it, Dawn. I think I enjoyed the conversation, but I feel like I enjoyed all our conversations. You know, we just don't record them all.
Right.
Anything else you want to say or add or leave or whatever? You know?
Well, the only thing I'd like to add is just, you know, thank you for the invitation.
Oh, yeah.
And also, you know, for your willingness to sit down whenever and talk about your team building, how you've built teams and given us advice. And you know, you very early on said, Art, you know, you've been only in the business a couple of years. You're rocking it. You're doing great. Your encouragement, your enthusiasm, and your ability to lead your team is just inspirational. So I'm looking forward to building a team and hoping to shadow you.
Thanks. I think that's awesome. Don't shadow me. It probably is not as good as it looks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say, like, there have definitely been times that you and I have had conversations, and you've always been very humble in saying, you know, like, it took me a while to get here. Like, it's not always, you know, it's not always the way it looks on the outside. And now being in that growth space, I completely see that.
Yeah.
People say the same thing to us, whether it's about our marriage or our business or our kids or whatever. And it's like, you know what, there's a lot of work, a lot of time that was spent cultivating all these things. So it does take time, and it does take energy and effort. And I guess my only advice would be just to keep moving. Yeah,
like, and you're gonna have hard times,
right.
Like no matter what anybody says, you know. And I think that's like the part that gets missed in like modern day information. It looks like it's all good times, but if you think about it, just the career, just that one topic, 7 years is not a short time.
No, it's a lot of time to put into.
A lot of shit happens in 7 years. You know what I mean? So like, I just think, yes, obviously nobody is crying on camera, you know, but you do, it's just like take the next step, grow, because the more you can grow yourself, the more anyone that's remotely in your circle is going to be forced to grow. And I think that's like moving generationally forward, right? Like, you do your part, because if you do your part, it'll make everybody that's looking at you do their part.
Right.
Right? Yeah. That's basically how it goes. Yeah, so cool. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right, I'm going to shut this down. That's awesome. I really enjoyed that conversation. This is my YouTube show. Bye, everybody. Do a little, I'm going to screenshot this. All right. All right, cool.